Greetings and welcome to step 27 of our awakening in 30 steps. Today's contemplation is on the perfection of perseverance, sometimes known as the perfection of joy. So in thinking about this little post, I thought about what we have been through and are enduring with the great pandemic of 2020, 2021, and certainly putting it in that perspective gives us some insight into what is really required to go the long haul. I mean, just cast your mind back to March last year when the whole pandemic kicked off, and now see yourself, where we are, what we've endured, the losses we've sustained, but also think on your own, in your own world, in your own way, what have you drawn upon to really get you this far? And then looking forward with the kind of sense that this is there's not an easy fix here. This is not going to right itself. There is no going back to normal. What is it going to take? What is it going to take to sustain us going forward? And I think if you just put it in like a 2 or 3, 4-year horizon, it's pretty remarkable. But then if you put it in the context of infinite life, beginningless time, and the pursuit of true enlightenment, I mean, how long are we talking? We're definitely talking, if not years, decades, possibly even lifetimes. And so what is it about the human being's ability to persevere, the human spirit's ability to sustain itself in the face of unbelievable and dramatic and profound challenges? With what is it about us that allows us to face adversity with grace and with dignity? It is nothing but perseverance. And so one of the ways that they talk about perseverance, the perseverance of the bodhisattva who is striving for enlightenment for the benefit of others, and who is embedded in the matrix, the field, if you will, of interconnectivity and interrelationality with living beings who are mired in their own stress addiction cycles and who are acting out and acting impulsively and acting aggressively and acting like lunatics. Well, how is it that can you imagine what it is that sustains the bodhisattva? And I think, of course, as I have in the last few posts of Geshe Tenzin Zopa, the seeming effortlessness of his grace and dignity, and the buoyancy and the joy with which he sustains himself in the face of all the challenges, certainly the challenges of the Tibetan community in exile and their genocide, but then just the challenges of facing, as he does, serving as counsel and support and refuge for so many hundreds of thousands of people across this planet. So in thinking about this, I just wanted to put it in perspective, the remarkable quality or virtue that perseverance really represents. And one of the ways that I just want to encapsulate it, I guess, is in this very common statement that we have about joy. When they say go and find work, if you find work that's meaningful and that you enjoy, you never work a day in your life. There's some sort of quote like that. Maybe you can help me find it and post it in one of your reflections. If you truly love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I think that is very much what is being suggested with today's reflection on the perfection of perseverance. Now there is another very, very powerful, pithy reflection that they add to this perfection, which comes in 3 bullet points. They say, what is the antidote, the obstacle, what prevents perseverance are what are called 3 types of lazinesses. 3 types of lazinesses. And of course, we've done 3 for each of the perfection of generosity, for the perfection of morality, for the perfection of patience. And so here we have a set of 3 that comes with the perfection of perseverance. These are the obstacles of laziness. So you think about the first laziness, which is the laziness of not doing anything worthwhile. The laziness, they actually call it the laziness of procrastination. The laziness of procrastination, that from anywhere from doing, not, hesitating to doing that laundry or throwing out the garbage or doing the dishes, all the way up to like what a drag it is sometimes to get our asses on the cushion or our noses into the right books. There is a kind of drag. There's a kind of like sluggishness, a sense of depression, a sense of not having it in the tank. And so they offer for each of these three types of lazinesses an antidote. And the antidote for the first type of laziness, the laziness of procrastination, this one you're going to love, is to contemplate death. Yes, to contemplate death, to put life in perspective. The precious human life will end, definitely, for sure. We just don't know when. And so I guess if you are struggling to get motivated to start an important project or to sustain yourself during a certain project, or you find yourself in your yoga asana practice and you're really sluggish, or your meditation practice and you're really sluggish, wherever it is that you find this kind of weighty, sluggy, gravitational pull, when you're procrastinating, you can't get off the block. They say to have a very strong meditation, good contemplation, deep, profound meditation on how precious life is and how quickly it ends. You could end today, could end even next moment. And they say that should be enough to give you a quick, swift kick in the ass. So the second type of procrastination, or the second type of laziness, is the laziness of not engaging in meaningful activities. In other words, dilly-dallying, idle gossip, meaningless pursuits, wasting one's time. The first one is not being able to do anything. And the second one is having the energy, but applying oneself to meaningless things. So just do me a favor, have a quick scroll. Have a quick, not to enforce or reinforce judgmentalness, but just have a quick scroll on Instagram and do me this experiment. If you knew that your mind was a diamond in the rough, how would you spend your time? What would you commit to? What would you be pursuing? And then start to scroll on Instagram and check out what people are doing. And you will find very quickly the deep sadness of lives being wasted. Time, precious time, of living beings whose minds are actually diamonds in the rough, where their attention is being directed to absolutely meaningless things, inconsequential things. And I'm not suggesting for a second. So that's a very strong point for compassion, actually. I think of Christ's, one of his last statements before dying, Lord, they know not what they do. And so rather than having judgment, have compassion. We can generate strong compassion when we see the idleness, the meaninglessness, the directionlessness, so much effort being pumped into lost horizons. So one of the things that we can think about is the antidote to this type of laziness. The antidote to the meaninglessness is the reflection on the 6 types of suffering and the strong, firm sense that comes after it. Do you remember which one it is? Do you remember our steps on the 6 types of suffering? What followed it? The 6 types of suffering, if you can remember them, are the antidote to this kind of aimless wandering and meaningless attempt to gratify oneself, only to find how dissatisfying life can be, how all that glitters is not gold. And so strong sense of renunciation is really a very profound antidote to this kind of meaningless energy, this expenditure. The final type of laziness is really one that I think is so very relevant to all of us. It's the one I want to spend the most amount of time driving home with us. It's so profound. The laziness of self-doubt. Another way of talking about it is the laziness of our lack of confidence. Now think about it. Do we really believe we have what it takes to go the distance? Do we even believe in enlightenment? And if we check that box, do we believe we can make it? Do we believe we can make it through the pandemic? Do we believe we can revive ourselves after losing an income? Do we believe that we can actually help others? Do we believe that we can evolve in this lifetime? Do we believe that we can, cultivate good capacities in the face of such adversity? Whether it's mundane worldly things or spiritual things, do we have self-doubt or do we have great self-confidence? And if you're anything like me, if you get honest, there's tremendous self-doubt. There's the insecurity and inadequacy mantra, the mantra of I can't, replaying itself in the head. And here's the antidote, so profound. The antidote to self-doubt and the antidote to the pervasive lack of self-confidence is a true reflection on Buddha nature. Buddha nature. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything except acknowledge and accept your own nature is free. Your own nature is free. The Buddha nature potential to be enlightened doesn't belong to a special few of this culture or this class or this race or this economic status. They say as long as you have consciousness, as long as you have sentience, you have Buddha nature. And what is Buddha nature? If it's not for the ability, you already have the ability within you. You are already baked inside of your soul, inside of your consciousness. Before you even came into this life, you already had the ability to be free. You can do anything. You can do anything. Sounds like a cliche thing that you find on one of these scrolling things on Instagram. But from a Buddhist perspective, you have unlimited potential. You have unlimited potential. All that gets in our way are causes and conditions. Our own self-imposed limitations. That's it. That's it. Our ultimate nature is free, and everything else that we're experiencing, all the way up to the very subtle siren song of self-doubt, is a self-imposed limitation. So profound. So profound. So if you're anything like me and you're having a little bit of a challenge at some point about can you really do it? Can you really do it? Think about Buddha nature. In a way, the profound thing about Buddha nature is timeless. It's past, present, and future. It's ultimate, so it's always there. And what it says is we've already accomplished it. We've already accomplished it. We have already accomplished it. Wow. These are the antidotes to the three kinds of laziness. The laziness of procrastination, the laziness of pursuing meaningless things, and the laziness of self-doubt. They belong to the perfection of perseverance, the joy, the engine that steers us on the long trajectory and the long haul towards enlightenment. This is step 27. Thank you so much, and all best wishes.